The measles outbreak in Texas is growing. The age group seeing the most cases, and whether you should consider getting a measles booster.
Another afternoon of sunshine, but we're not done with the fog just yet. We'll track the lowering visibility for your morning tomorrow in First Warning Weather.
And confusion among federal lawmakers as mixed messaging clouds an already foggy directive from government leadership. The fired federal workers taking their frustration and turning it into action.
And lawmakers heard directly from former federal employees today on Capitol Hill as hundreds bombarded offices trying to get answers instead of getting pushed out. Thanks for joining us. I'm Daniel Marin.
And I'm Jennifer Sanders. As NBC's Aaron Gilchrist reports, after hearing from voters back home, some Republican members of Congress are changing their tone.
Everybody move, please.
Hundreds of fired federal workers taking their anger and questions to Capitol Hill, crowding into and overwhelming lawmakers' offices, demanding answers.
I think it's really cruel to fire people for poor performance when they've only had great feedback.
To why they were seemingly randomly fired by billionaire Elon Musk and his Department of Government Efficiency.
I felt really proud being an American working at USAID. I really felt that we were providing support and care to humanity around the world because it's the right thing to do. And that made me feel proud no matter who was president.
Republicans who've felt the anger from constituents back home, like Congressman Rich McCormick, softening their tone.
I'm all for trimming the government, but I'm all for also doing it in a deliberate manner that allows people to adjust in their lifestyle.
McCormick, just one GOP lawmaker, expected to meet with the president today to discuss the firings and the cuts to come. Meanwhile, federal employees who still have jobs may get a second email asking them to explain their work. Musk posting on social media that failure to respond again will mean termination, contradicting what the government said yesterday, that responding was voluntary. The White House saying today President Trump supports his secretary's directions.
So again, the agency heads will determine the best practices for their employees at their specific agencies.
Everyone goes through a review process all the time, every single year. You just don't do it in this kind of way and just make it easy for China to collect data on the American people.
Still, for some, more questions than answers.
I have cried every day. I have a 15-month-old at home, and I'm looking at him and thinking, well, what's this country that we're now living in?
As the president pushes forward with his vision to reshape the federal government. Another piece of President Trump's agenda is facing a key vote as Republicans seek to adopt a budget. It's the first test of the Republican governing majority, and already some GOP members may be withholding support until they get more information on planned spending cuts. They want assurances that those cuts will not impact social safety net programs. At the White House, Aaron Gilchrist, NBC News.
And today, more than 20 civil service employees resigned from Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, saying they are refusing to use their technical expertise to, quote, dismantle critical public services. The 21 tech staffers wrote a joint resignation letter saying that they, quote, swore to serve the American people and uphold their oath to the Constitution across presidential administrations, but it has become clear they can no longer honor those commitments. Now, these staffers joined when the agency was known as the United States Digital Service. The mass resignation comes as court challenges seek to stall or stop their efforts to put thousands of federal workers out of their jobs.
The cybersecurity expert who until recently led efforts to protect sensitive veteran data on VA.gov is warning millions of veterans' personal and sensitive information could be at risk after DOJ suddenly fired him. Jonathan Kamens was fired via email last Friday alongside around 40 other employees. And the cybersecurity engineer was terminated after 18 months on the job. VA.gov serves millions of veterans monthly, housing sensitive information, including health records, financial data, bank account numbers, as well as disability details. Kamens is sounding the alarm about DOJ's approach to government data, describing efforts to break down traditional data silos between agencies.
I'm also concerned that if DOJ continues the same pattern at VA that they've executed at every other agency, eventually the people from DOJ are going to start digging around inside private VA databases that contain people's private information. And I don't think they should have access to that data. These are people who have never been background checked. They're not confirmed to be trustworthy.
And last week, the VA announced it let more than 1,000 employees go as part of the Trump administration's government restructuring plan. In a statement, VA Secretary Doug Collins said the personnel changes, quote, will not negatively impact VA health care, benefits, or beneficiaries. Going in depth right now, if veterans' sensitive information is at risk, it could affect the lives of more than 1 million Texans. According to 2023 census data, an estimated 15.8 million veterans live in the United States, and Texas is home to nearly 1.4 million of them. The majority of those Texas veterans served after the 9/11 attacks at nearly 490,000 Texans. That number also aligns with national veterans trends, with an estimated 4.4 million having served in the military since September 11th.
First warning weather with Chief Meteorologist Nick Bannon.
After a foggy morning, another glorious afternoon. This is how it looks from the Oasis restaurant camera looking out over Lake Travis. Although we have to say it, we still need more rain, but this weather just beautiful. Mid to upper 70s through the metro and our eastern counties, low to mid 80s right now in the hill country, and we're cloudless. Although as we head through the night tonight, it's going to be kind of similar to how it was this morning with some areas of fog and low clouds developing, but skies should stay clear for the evening. 67 here by 7. It will be actually kind of warm night compared to lately, down to 60 here at 10, and overnight lows only dropping into the 50s, but low clouds and fog filling in by 7 in the morning, especially along and east of I-35. So coming up in first warning weather, we'll time out that fog, show you how low the visibility could get for some of us ahead of a weak cold front later in the week, and limited rain chances that begin this weekend and beyond.
All right, Nick, thank you very much. We have an update to the ongoing measles outbreak in Texas. According to the state health department, 124 cases have now been reported across the state. Of those cases, 18 people have been hospitalized. 5 of the patients say they are vaccinated. The rest are either unvaccinated or their status is unknown. Now, looking closer at the numbers, 39 cases have been reported in young children up to 4 years old. Children ages 5 to 17 are seeing the highest number of cases at 62. And 18 adults have also contracted measles, and there are still 5 cases with the age pending. Now, going in depth, if you got both doses of the measles vaccine as a child, your body should still be well equipped to fight off this very contagious virus. For nearly 4 decades, federal advisory committees have recommended children get 2 doses of the MMR vaccine. Usually babies get the first dose between 12 and 15 months of age, and then the second dose comes between the ages of 4 and 6. The CDC says if you got both doses of the vaccine, you don't need to get a 3rd dose, even in the event of an outbreak. But if you know you only got 1 dose, the CDC says you should speak with your local public health department to see about getting a 2nd dose.
The University of Texas at Austin is partnering with a leader in the realm of industrial technology to really advance its research into AI, semiconductors, and automation. UT Austin is teaming up with Emerson in a 3-year agreement to upgrade research labs at UT facilities and launch a new master's degree program in semiconductor science and engineering. In a news release, UT Austin said it will become a, quote, core research partner for Emerson as it delves further into semiconductors, AI, energy, and other areas in the future.
The city of Austin wrapped a handful of 2018 mobility projects designed to make your commutes around town smoother. Austin voters approved a $160 million transportation bond package, which included $4.5 million for safety and mobility improvements. Now, some of those projects included video upgrades at the city's Mobility Management Center to allow staff to track real-time traffic levels and then quickly respond to crashes. The city is also working on a new system to let emergency vehicles change the traffic lights to green while they're responding to emergencies. Now, that's currently being tested with 9 vehicles at 100 intersections. Expect full implementation by the end of the year.
Before testifying in front of state lawmakers on Monday, the Texas Lottery Commission announced a ban on lottery mobile apps, threatening to take away the license of any retailer found working with courier services.
Now, this morning, the commission doubled down, announcing an investigation into all couriers and capping lottery retailers at 5 terminals per store, effectively kneecapping operations like Jackpocket, which had 47 terminals and its storefront.
And now, with these popular apps gone, there is a rallying cry to bring them back. Adam Schwager explains.
It would send me an email, oh, you won so much.
Blake Cottle says he did a lot of winning on the app Jackpocket, including taking home a $6,000 prize. He says he wouldn't have gotten that ticket at a traditional retailer because his visual impairment prevents him from driving.
It comes in handy for people, like I said, with disabilities or those who just don't want to go to the store.
But after a policy change from the Texas Lottery Commission Monday morning, the 4-year Jackpocket user opened his app to find he could no longer play the lottery from the comfort of his home.
I was kind of sad because I'm like, I also have money in there.
While Cottle successfully figured out how to get his money back, Jackpocket CEO Peter Sullivan was on the Senate floor trying to see if he could successfully bring his app back in Texas.
That's why people are playing the lottery. They have a dream, they want to be able to play, and what we do is help facilitate that. And we've been doing it transparently for many years with the lottery's knowledge.
At the hearing, the Coalition of Texas Lottery Couriers, consisting of 3 lottery applications not tied to April 2023's controversial mass ticket purchase, tried to distance themselves. They argued regulating lottery apps might be safer than in-person lottery purchases.
Because of those daily, weekly, and monthly limits, we don't have somebody on there trying to buy $20 million worth of tickets.
Despite their arguments, the Senate committee voted unanimously to move legislation banning courier services to the Senate floor, prompting Jackpocket to send out a notification to have their players email the governor and lieutenant governor their thoughts. However, Cottle had a slight hiccup while expressing his concerns.
When I sent my email, it told me it was a send failure, so they may not even have the right email address on their form.
Reporting in Austin, I'm Adam Schwager.
And the lottery couriers are now looking to the Texas House for help, expressing support for a bill filed by Representative John Busey to regulate instead of banning couriers. Busey is calling on the Lottery Commission to stop efforts to ban couriers until the legislature can act to resolve this issue.
And going in depth, before 2015, all state lottery games had a simple method of play, but the Lottery Commission created some rules allowing players to communicate their selection of numbers electronically. And then in 2020, one rule change allowed all Texas lottery draw games to be played through phone apps via couriers without violating commission rules. Later, a Houston Chronicle investigation showed a group of investors had essentially gamed a $95 million jackpot in 2023, spending nearly $26 million to buy almost every possible number combination. And then this past weekend, Texas Lottery Commissioner Clark E. Smith resigned due to growing pressure from state lawmakers. So that brings us to this week with the Texas Lottery Commission announcing its move to ban courier services.
Right, to the weather now, and another beautiful day, but some of us had a foggy start.
Yeah, some of us, especially along and east of 35. The hill country, though, started with full sunshine, and I expect there'll be a lot of you tomorrow that start with sunshine again. But there is going to be the concern for some areas of thick fog to develop late in the night tonight. Right now, most of Texas under the sunshine, and you can see what the surface winds are doing coming out of the southeast off the Gulf, bringing us some moisture. Not a lot of high humidity at this point, but enough moisture that once the temperatures drop at night, the fog and low cloudiness builds in. And you can see our fog forecast into tomorrow morning brings the thickest of fog with visibility less than half a mile to most of our eastern counties. Some of that fog gets into the metro, perhaps a little bit of light fog entering the hill country. The fog should lift earlier than it did today, but I still think we'll have some low clouds around, even with pretty good visibility by 9, 10 o'clock or so. And then we're fog free and almost cloud free as we get toward the middle of the day here tomorrow. How are the skies going to look? Not just the fog. Well, clear skies through 11 o'clock tonight. Then the fog and low cloud combination builds in for tomorrow morning. Yet you can see some of the hill country never even gets the low clouds and fog. Then it lifts away by midday, and then the afternoon, not quite as blue of a sky as what we had today. We expect more of a mix of sun with high, thin clouds. So still a bright afternoon, just not a completely clear sky. Then a cold front comes in early Thursday, brings us the tiniest little chance for a stray morning shower, and it does knock our temperatures down, although the temperatures will start to climb again in the afternoon once we get in on some Thursday afternoon sun, but not quite as warm as it has been over the last couple of days. Right now we're in the mid-70s in Austin, almost 90 in San Angelo, and we've got some 90s there in Laredo. We'll get down to 55 tonight, but remember those low clouds and areas of fog built in after midnight. So if you got early morning travel tomorrow, especially east of 35 or near 35, there may be some low visibility. Once the fog lifts away by mid to late morning, a lot of sun for the majority of the afternoon, really, with a high of 78. And there'll be some low 80s again tomorrow afternoon in the hill country. We'll be close to that in the metro with 78, of course, just a couple of degrees away. And our eastern counties in the mid to upper 70s as well. Then that cold front that comes through Thursday morning does knock us down to 67. So just 60s, though, for one day. We're back in the 70s Friday, upper 70s on Saturday. We do have some rain chances, though, the second half of the weekend. Right now, the rain looks very light. Beginning Sunday, drizzle, light showers, and the potential for a few more showers or even thunderstorms Monday and Tuesday. But right now the chances are fairly low, and still don't think we'll get a lot of rain over the next week. 1/10 of an inch to a 1/4 inch for most, and then south and southwest of Austin, less than 1/10 of an inch. Hopefully these amounts trend up, although they haven't shown much signs of that just yet. Here's a look at our first warning weather 7-day forecast. So it's somewhat of a split weekend, but if you're trying to get outside and in the sunshine, then Saturday's your day with just some light showers at times on Sunday and a few more of those Monday and Tuesday, as we're up to 80 by next Tuesday. We'll be right back.
News Nation tonight. James Carville, Chris Cuomo, live in primetime. What he has to say about the explosive comments he made about the future of the Trump administration. Tonight on Cuomo at 8/7 Central, only on News Nation. Tonight on News Nation, what will President Trump's sweeping changes mean for the country long term? Bill O'Reilly weighs in. Tonight on Balance at 9/8 Central.
We're now just a few days away from race weekend at the Circuit of the Americas, where some of the biggest names in NASCAR will hit the road for a shot at Grand Prix glory. And crews at COTA are already making preparations. We have some video from this morning showing workers out painting lines and cleaning the grandstands, ensuring the track is in top shape before it welcomes thousands this weekend. The Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix is set for Sunday. And then don't forget, on Saturdays, we've got NASCAR Xfinity Series for you over on CW Austin. Coverage for the Focused Health 250 at COTA starts at 1 p.m.
Blue Origin sent another group of astronauts into suborbital space today. This morning's launch from Van Horn, Texas represents the 10th space tourism mission for the commercial rocket company. Not long after takeoff, the reusable New Shepard rocket landed safely, followed shortly by the crew capsule with 6 crew members on board. Among them, venture capitalist Lane Bess and entrepreneur and physicist Elaine Hyde.
Well, another scary airport incident caught on video at Chicago's Midway Airport this morning. Take a look. A Southwest Airlines jet was coming in for a landing and was about to touch down when it was forced to abort the landing and then climb dramatically in order to avoid a private jet that was crossing the runway right in front of it. A statement from Southwest Airlines said Flight 2504 landed safely. The private plane, operated by FlexJet, entered the runway without authorization. That's according to a statement from the Federal Aviation Administration. The FAA will now investigate this incident. All right, well, NBC Primetime is all new tonight. At 7 o'clock, we've got St. Denis Medical, followed by Night Court at 7:30. At 8 o'clock, it's Deal or No Deal Island. And then at 9 o'clock, it's The Irrational. Before we see you back here for KXAN News at 10.
And join us an hour earlier for KXAN News at 9 on CW Austin. Here's where to find us.